dars ambayo inshallah tutakuwa nayo katika siku ya leo, maudhui yataallaq bi fiqh zakah. Kabla tujaendelea mbele, labda tungekubaliana juu ya masala mawili au matatu inshallah. Nitawaelezeni kadhalika utaratibu wa darsa pamoja na nidham ambayo inshallah tutakuwa nayo katika kuendesha majlis au jalsa hii bi mashiati Allah taala. Awalan, ningependa kuhakikisha upande wa lugha ya communication, lugha ya mawasiliano, tungependelea tushike lugha gani katika kuzungumza. Kwa hivyo ningependa kujua labda niendelee na lugha ya Kiswahili hivi ninavyozungumza, au labda nibadilishe kwa lugha ya Kiingereza, English, au even kwa lugha ya Kiarabu. Labda hapo ningepata mwelekeo, ndipo tuweze kujua tutakwenda vipi na darasa hii inshallah taala. Presentation PowerPoint mainly itakuwa kwa lugha ya Kiarabu mostly, kwa sababu ndio lugha ambayo inayotumika katika fiqh, na obviously nitakuwa naelezea kila sentence, kila ibara na kila kalima nitakuwa naieleza na explain vile inavyotakiwa kufahamika. Lakini sasa ningejua ni vizuri tungekubaliana kama hii lugha ya Kiswahili iko sawa tuendelee, au tufanye lugha ya English. We turn to English. Maana muhimu ni for clarity purposes. Clarity purposes. Arabic is okay. We can go for Arabic language.
It's good to understand the bigger
we can as well combine English and Kiswahili from time to time. Okay. So inshallah basi mtaniarifu kama kuna pale ambapo panahitajia kuelezea kwa lugha labda ya Kiswahili na mimi nazungumza kwa English, mtaniambia hapa panahitajia maelezo zaidi. Na ikiwa kuna pale nimezungumza English inahitajika Kiswahili pia mtaniambia. Okay, that is number one. Number two, ni wape breakdown ya this session ambayo itakuwa nayo inshallah. Sijajua paka sasa, I cannot estimate how long it will take us kwa sababu ya variation of time of beginning. As per my plan, this session 1 was supposed to have started 8:30 leo asubuhi, for us to at least be able to achieve kama 3/4 of it by end of the day, that is 4 o'clock. Lakini now that we have started at a different time, I'm not really sure how long it may take us to reach the target that I wanted. Okay, generally the session is divided into 3 sections or 3 parts. Part 1 is introduction, the one that we are going to have it right now inshallah ta'ala. And the introduction part is more or less theoretical based. It will be more of theory inshallah. We'll go through lots of concepts. We will cover several principles that guide us to understand the fiqh of zakah, as well as rulings and regulations, general rulings and regulations za fiqh ya zakah in Islam. And most of these are also going to be discussed from a general point of view inshallah ta'ala. Session number 2 inshallah, which we expect it to follow after session 1, maybe with a slight break in between, it will be more of a practical session, whereby we are expected to now apply those principles which we have just learned, and we shall engage ourselves in real life examples and calculation of zakah in detail inshallah ta'ala. Zakah of several items as we can see. And then session number 3, which I really doubt if we will manage to reach as per the time schedule, is mainly meant to cover the contemporary issues that we have in zakah today. we have lots of modern issues that have emerged in our current scenario, things like which we didn't have to, we never had them before, and they're not, it's not easy to find them in the traditional fiqh books. Things like zakah on stocks, zakah on shares, zakah on bonds, securities, corporate zakah, calculation of zakah of a company rather than an individual entity or the individual person, and such like things that are quite contemporary. We ought to have covered this part as well, given the nature of the kind of life that we are living in today. So inshallah we'll see as time dictates to us and the progress of our discussion, inshallah. I feel like what I'm going to do is to rather try to speed up the first session, especially the one that is theoretical we are going to cover now, inshallah. And once we are done with session 1, I think we can have a leeway to see if we can move up to session number 3, inshallah. Now, the purpose of session 1, as I've just mentioned at the beginning, is to cover these two objectives. Number 1, وضع الأسس التي تبنى عليها بقية الفصول. ثانيا، عرض المعاني والأحكام والمبادئ العامة لفقه الزكاة. So in English, the purpose of this session 1 is to provide a foundation upon which all subsequent chapters are going to be based, and number 2, to outline the general principles, meanings and rulings that govern the laws of zakah. Now, with that in mind, we expect to cover the following concepts or the following items in session number 1. There are 7 in number. Number 1 is ta'rif zakah, the meaning of zakah. Number 2 is mashru'iyyat zakah, the backup for regulation of zakah. Where is zakah, or what is the source that made zakah legitimate and made zakah a regulation or a ruling in Islam? We are going to tackle that in number 2. Number 3, fada'il az-zakah, which talks about the virtues of zakah. And fourthly, wadha'if az-zakah wa atharuha, the roles of zakah, the functions and roles of zakah to an individual and to the society. And number 5, hukmu mani'i zakah, the ruling of those who default on zakah. Number 6, al-amwal az-zakawiyya, the items of wealth upon which zakah is compulsory, the items from which we produce zakah, or the items which are compulsory to be given out as zakah. And finally, shurut zakah, and these are the conditions of zakah. So very quickly, these are the items that inshallah we expect to acquaint ourselves with, and by the end of this session, I believe we shall have compiled or gathered rather a substantial amount of knowledge or information that will enable us to pursue the subsequent parts, inshallah. So starting or beginning with the first concept, that is about ta'rif zakah, the meaning of zakah. And let me also remind you that I normally prefer my sessions, because the nature of this presentation, as I always like it to be, I prefer that it is some sort of a workshop. So it's not really a lecture or like a seminar given in a certain platform or forum, whereby only one person speaks from this end and the others are only receivers or recipients. So from time to time, I'll be engaging the audience to get your feedback or to have your inputs or to answer questions and so on. As for questions which you would like me to explain as we go along, I would like you to minimize most of these questions, because it is very likely that a question you want to pose or you want to ask is going to be answered as we move. So unless there's something or concept that's not clear yet, you would like me to repeat or to go through it over and over again, I don't mind until it's understood, it's well understood. Now, beginning with the first concept, تعريف الزكاة, meaning of zakah. يطلق الزكاة في اللغة على معنيين. The term zakah in Arabic language is used to refer to two sets of meanings. The first set of meaning is at-tahara. The meaning of zakah is tahara linguistically. This is a linguistic interpretation or linguistic definition of what zakah is. So number one is tahara, and this is commonly found in the Islamic texts. When you read Quran, when you read the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you will get to find that in several places zakah has been used to mean tahara. Okay, a good example will be in Surah Wash-Shams. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, wa nafsin wa ma sawaha fa'alhamaha fujuraha wa taqwaha. Then he says, qad aflaha man zakkaha. So the word is zakkaha here is coming from the word zakka, or which is zakah as well. But the meaning of zakkaha in the verse means purify, not the meaning of zakah that comes to our technical understanding. So the first meaning of zakah is tahara, as we have just mentioned, and we have just read that verse to support that meaning. And this leads us to a very relevant question, which is to find out the connection between zakah and tahara. Because zakah, one of the meanings of zakah is tahara. And normally when we have this linguistic interpretation of a technical word, what normally happens is there is always a connection between the term and the original meaning. So it is always good to try and find out what's the real connection between zakah and tahara. Why is the zakah that we are giving out, why is it connected to tahara? What's the relevance? What is the relationship? Anyone who can chip in? Anyone who would like to answer?
Purification of wealth.
Purification of wealth, that's good. Okay, so tahara, zakah is referred to as tahara, or contains the meaning of tahara, because it comprises of purification of the wealth. But let's listen to another question. How is that wealth purified when you give out zakah?
Moral attachment, isn't it?
Moral attachment?
Purification of oneself from miserliness, from collecting wealth.
Okay.
With the shuh al-nafs.
Okay. So okay, originally you said it's purification of the wealth,
Yeah.
and now you're saying purification of the soul.
Yeah, the two.
The two together.
Two
Two different things. Okay, which is correct. That's the correct answer.
How?
Yeah, it's a very good answer. Now the first one is purification of the wealth,
Yeah.
and the second one is purification of the soul.
Yeah.
Whose soul? Soul of the giver or soul of the recipient?
Both of them.
How is the soul of the giver purified?
The giver, because the giver wants to be stingy. Whatever you collect, you want to hold back.
Okay. So when you give out zakah, the soul is purified from stinginess and bukhl. Very good. And how about the soul of the receiver, of the recipient?
From spite, hiq.
Okay,
that
very
this
good.
one has got wealth
Yes,
accumulated
and
I'm not
envy
getting
and
it.
hasad and hatred. Very good. Excellent answer. Excellent. So actually this is where purification comes in zakah terms. So in zakah, the wealth is purified, as has been mentioned, and the soul is also purified. The giver's soul as well as the recipient's soul. Very good. Now the second meaning of zakah, still linguistic, is an-nama wa ziyada. An-nama wa ziyada. So in Arabic language, you can say nama zakah az-zar', zakah az-zar'. And what that means when you say zakah az-zar' means that plants or vegetation has grown, from the word zakah. So zakah means to increase or to grow. Okay, so zakah, the other meaning after purification is to grow and to increase. linguistically. Okay, still we are also supposed to understand the connection between zakah and growth. How is zakah considered growth and increase? We have seen how zakah is considered purification, which is good. Now it's also important to find out what's the relationship between zakah and growth. Okay.
Clean the wealth and give to the right of the poor, the right of the needy.
So what really grows?
What grows is
Yes.
your wealth.
Your what?
God gives it barakah.
The wealth grows.
Yes.
Okay, the wealth grows, but not using our normal human calculations. You see, yeah, because if you have 100,000, if you have 100,000, and then you give out zakah out of it, let's put it at around a rough figure of 3,000 shillings or 5,000 shillings. That money has been reduced to 95,000. So it has actually reduced and not grown. So growth here is considering the abstract meaning, okay, not the logical meaning of growth, by looking at the figures and calculations. So by calculation wise and number wise, it's true, the amount has gone down, but spiritually and by our belief and by looking at the abstract meaning of abiding by the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and for a Muslim to carry out this duty, then definitely that abstract meaning is going to be realized, and we are safe to say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to put barakah in that wealth. So the growth here, as our sister has just presented, is growth by barakah. Growth by barakah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts barakah in the wealth that is the wealth from which zakah is produced. Okay, now after going through the linguistic meaning, we can now move on to the technical meaning of zakah. The technical meaning is the meaning that is going to be used for as working definition. The actual meaning of this word as used in the context of the discussion that we are having right now. So اصطلاحا هو التعبد لله تعالى بإخراج جزء واجب شرعا في مال معين لطائفة أو جهة مخصوصة. So the meaning of zakah technically is a form of ibadah which involves compulsory payment of certain amount from a particular wealth to a specific type of recipients. So you can see the definition is slightly loaded with lots of parts. Part one is it's a form of ibadah. That's a very important statement for you to realize, that zakah is not just an obligation that you are carrying out. It's not a duty that you are doing only or per se, but number one, you have to realize that it's actually a form of ibadah. The same way how you perform salah, the same way you fast Ramadan, the same way you go for Hajj. Zakah, by giving out alms or zakah that is wajib, is a form of ibadah. Secondly, this zakah is guided by lots of rules, regulations that govern the entire system of zakah. So that's why we said it involves payment of certain amount, okay, not any amount, and then it's from a particular type of wealth, not any kind of wealth, and finally that zakah itself is given to specific kind of people and not to any person. So these are some of the issues that we are going to tackle as we go along, covering the concepts that we have mentioned. Okay, so the other aspect we want to look at in our discussion is mata furidat salah. When was zakah made compulsory? Okay, this is important for us to build a background of our discussion on zakah. Your understanding of zakah will not be kind of advanced and complete if you don't know such kind of information that is going to give you a strong background. So who can respond to this question? When was zakah made compulsory? And by when here, I don't really expect to get the specific year. It's just enough for you to say it was made compulsory in the Meccan period or in the Medinan period. That's enough. So when do you think was zakah made compulsory? في العهد المكي أو في العهد المدني? That's a very quick answer. في العهد المدني. Okay. So the answer given is zakah was made compulsory fil ahd al-madani, which means after the hijrah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, if that is the case, then I will follow that. I will follow that answer with another question, and the question is: whenever you read the Holy Quran, you find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in many places, actually almost the entire Quran, Allah couples salah with zakah. Whenever he mentions salah, he also mentions zakah. A very good example will be wa aqimu salata, then he says wa atu zakah. All right, so can we have an agreement that some of these verses wa aqimu salah were revealed in the Meccan period, right? Were revealed in the Meccan period. Okay, now if that is the case, those verses also contained wa atu zakah. So how do you explain that? If zakah was made compulsory in the Medinan period or Medinan era, and yet we have some verses where zakah and salah have come together, and that verse or that surah was revealed in Makkah before Hijrah. A quick answer will be they didn't have much to give. No, they had wealth to give. Sorry, they did not.
You will identify the type of zakat
okay.
in Madani and
Okay, that's a very good answer. Though, actually, that's the right answer. Okay, so to answer that, to understand that that part of the question I asked you, you need to reflect on salah first. Salah was made compulsory in the Meccan period, right? We agree on that.
Yeah.
But to what extent, to what details? Were there any details? The answer is no. There weren't any details, or there weren't much details concerning salah in the Meccan era. So until the Prophet ﷺ migrated to Medina, that's when most of the details regarding prayers came down, okay, were revealed to him, pertaining to the timings of salah, the shurut, the sunan, and most of these things. Now the same discussion or the same understanding applies to zakah. So the general ruling of giving out zakah was revealed in Makkah, in the Meccan period. But the details on how to give out zakah, whom to give out the zakah, the rates of giving out zakah, the calculations, and all these, detailed information regarding zakah was made in the Medinan period. So that is the correct answer that's going to guide you to understand that. And that's why we say in our answer here, zakah was made compulsory in Mecca, but its details were declared in Medina. Okay. Now, next, we are still under the discussion of the definition that we gave. The other aspect of discussion we are going to look at is awjuh al-ittifaq and awjuh al-ikhtilaf, the similarities and differences between zakah and tax. Okay, because sometimes there might be a confusion in a Muslim's mind, especially a mind of a person who has just recently reverted or embraced Islam. He may not be in a full understanding of what zakah entails, what is the essence of zakah. He may be looking at zakah from the perspective of looking at tax, and ultimately thinking that zakah and tax is just one and the same thing, which actually is not. So let us start by looking at the similarities very quickly. And the similarities are, number two, both of them are compulsory. Okay, zakah is compulsory and tax is compulsory. Okay, of course, without looking at who made it compulsory. Okay, of course, this one is divinely. This is made compulsory by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the Sharia, and the taxes are made compulsory by the humans. And number two, both zakah and tax, both of them are similar in the sense that they both have a base. They both have a base. In zakah, we have a zakat base. Okay, you can also safely say zakah bracket. And we are going to later know the right technical term for that. It's what we refer to as nisab. Okay, nisab is the base for zakah. And in a similar manner, taxes are also using a tax base or tax bracket. For example, if I'm not mistaken, the payee, the income tax, the base for income tax, the minimum amount is 24,000. So the government will start taxing you if you start to earn 24,000 and above. Anything below that figure, then you will not be liable for tax. So at least there's a tax base in both the two concepts. Now, looking at the differences between the two, we have quite a number of differences. So difference number one is the term itself, the word itself. Zakah and tax are two different things altogether. Okay? Why? Because we have just mentioned from the definition and from the linguistic meaning that we gave, we found that zakah carries more spiritual meaning than the word tax. Okay? In zakah, it carries the meaning of purification. It carries the meaning of what else? And growth and increase. Okay? Tax does not refer to any of those meanings. And that is why it is wrong for a Muslim to refer to zakah as Islamic tax. It is not a tax. Zakah is something and tax is something else altogether. So even the word itself is different in meaning. Number two is the nature of tax and the nature of zakah. Zakah is divinely. Zakah is based on revelation. It is a form of ibadah, whereas a tax is a human obligation. A human obligation. In tax, okay, you are obliged to give out the tax or pay the taxes to be safe with the authorities, so that you're not in trouble with them. Whereas zakah, you don't do it in order to be safe with the authorities, but to please whom? To please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number three, the brackets and the rates, ansiba or maqadir. Ansiba is the plural of nisab. So we have tax brackets in all the items where zakah is given. We have brackets for every item. We have a zakah bracket. For example, when it comes to finances, when it comes to money, currencies, there's a zakah bracket. There's a zakah bracket on gold, on silver, on animals, on business that a person owns, and so on. And then we have the maqadir. Maqadir is jam'u miqdar, which refers to the rates. The rates are also different across the zakat items that we have mentioned. Okay. And as for the other difference is athabat, stability. Okay. So zakah is stable. It is stable and fixed. There's nothing to worry about. If someone owns 10 million Kenya shillings, he pays zakah at the same rate as a person who has less than that amount, let's say 100,000. Okay? It's unlike the taxes whereby they are considered progressive. Progressive in the sense that the higher you earn, the higher you're going to pay the taxes, which sounds a little bit, yes, biased or punitive, yes, but that would be the right word. But for Islam, everything is stable, everything is fixed, nothing to worry about. And finally, the al-masarif, the recipients. For zakah, we have certain particular stipulated recipients. These are the people who are supposed to receive zakah. As for taxes, there are no recipients. Everybody receives a tax. The entire population, the entire country benefits from the taxes. In fact, even the citizen, the person who paid the tax himself, is supposed to be receiving the tax service and so on. So these are two different concepts. Now next, we are looking at mashru'iyyat al-zakah. This is concept number 2 out of the 7 items that we had. Legitimacy of zakah, and in this point, we are looking at what is the basis for considering zakah a must. What's the basis? Yeah, and you see, this is a very important question someone can ask you. Why do you consider zakah a must? So you must have a strong answer for that, an answer that is backed by proof and evidence. Okay. I'm supposed to read this to the audience? Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. There's a note here that we'll be taking a short break from the live streaming of Zakat Workshop on Horizon TV. So we are going to, we should break now, yeah? Okay. So, right. Yeah. Oh, okay. So we are also breaking with you, or you are? Sorry? I read it. Audience at home. Okay. I've never worked in a TV station, so you're really giving me a heavy task. Okay, so we are taking a short break from the live Zakat Workshop to bring you Tunu ya Familia. Zakat Workshop live will be back after the show. You'll be paying me for that, or this is free of charge? I'll be looking at, I'm not trained for that.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.